Welcome to In Moderation,
the show where we give you a moderate dose of info, sarcasm, and we already know we're not approved.
Okay then. We're on 26. Even I'm forgetting what episode we're on now.
See, you got to start with that.
Yep.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the podcast. Rob just forgot what episode number it was, so it's not just me. Get fucked, idiot. So we're on episode, 26, and I know that.
You know that because I just said it.
No, that wasn't that. It wasn't that. So today we have a special guest who's going to introduce her name because we just went through 3 minutes of trying to figure out what we're going to say. So I'm going to let her introduce her own name so that everybody then knows what to say. Go ahead.
All right. Hey, I'm Beefcake Brina, otherwise known as Sabrina. So call me either.
All right.
Or we can just call you the entire. You have to say the entire thing. Beefcake Brina, otherwise known as Sabrina.
Beefcake Brina, otherwise known as Sabrina, otherwise known as Brina, otherwise known as Brina, otherwise known as
Beefcake, Sabrina, Rena. Beefcake. There's something there. We'll figure it out.
You gotta say the entire thing.
Okay, Sabrina. I'm just gonna go with that because I remember the Teenage Witch. Who else remembers that show? I think I'm old. I don't know, but I.
So my sister's name is Sabrina, and she was born on October 31st.
Nice.
So there were a lot of Sabrina the Teenage Witch jokes
Halloween.
and bitch jokes.
Oh, for sure. Sabrina's not known for being the teenage witch. The Sabrina that we have, she's known more for her fitness content. I mean, maybe some Halloween stuff, sure, but why don't you give people like a little just introduction of like what you do, what you're about, that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, I'm essentially your favorite quote unquote no bullshit online coach on TikTok, and that's kind of where I primarily reside. I have a BS in kinesiology, and I use my skills of analyzing and breaking down research to essentially debunk misinformation on the internet, which is very similar to what y'all do with your.
Wait, we don't know anything about that. What are you talking about?
So wait. What I heard here is that you're a no BS coach that has a bullshit degree in kinesiology, right?
Funny enough, right?
I like that. That is good. You need that on a shirt or something.
Ironic.
There's something there. We'll figure it out as time goes on. Okay, so we need to know then. I need to know because we obviously have our Bobbies in the nutrition world. Is there a Bobby of the fitness world? Is there someone that's just spewing so much nonsense that people are like, you have to, their new video, you have to go over it.
You want me to name names?
Of course, that's what we're all about is naming names. I want
what we need here. We need here. Yeah.
Just a few that I can think of off the top of my head that have been continuously coming back are V-Shred and Brittany Dawn Davis. Brittany Dawn, by the way, was found. Man. She dumped her dog and it got discovered a few days ago. Her old dog.
Seriously?
Pit bull. Yeah. It was there was a whole Reddit thread on it. There was photo evidence, and the pit bull was microchipped and starving and dumped. Yeah, Brittany Dawn Davis.
You can do a lot of things and people will forgive you. Like, you can fuck over humans in like the worst ways and people are like, they're humans, they suck. But if you fuck over a dog, you will never live. It's over. It's like,
but this isn't the first time either. She's used animals in the past, allegedly, through like YouTube and like different like horses, dogs, etc. So like, not surprised, but like, I don't know how she's gonna come back from this. I mean, she had a lawsuit against her a year or two ago within the fitness industry where she had to pay a settlement of, I believe it was 6 figures, don't quote me on that, essentially for scamming people back in a decade ago. Yeah.
I know what I'm doing after this episode.
You don't know about that?
I gotta look into this after this episode.
Oh, you didn't know?
I don't know.
It was pretty damn big.
Hundreds of individuals, especially women, because on the internet she was a coach. And she was an ED warrior, eating disorder warrior, and she claimed to have expertise in EDs. And so naturally, people signed up for her coaching. She gave them very cookie cutter programs and very low calorie diets. And she screwed over a lot of people. And it came.
And I'm pretty sure she claimed that those cookie cutter programs were like unique individual ones. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were like,
and then
there's
you
some
get
as
people
low as
like, wait a
1,200
second,
calories.
mine's the same as theirs. What's going on here? Like that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
and so she's gotten a lot of heat. And then after she scammed in the fitness industry and knew that she couldn't clear her name there, she moved into the Christian community. So now she is under the guise of God and at XYZ, and just things just continue to come up. Like it's just one after the other. Like there were problems with her being a terrible foster parent, and now she can't do that anymore. Yeah, it's all over the internet. I mean,
I feel like I'm on a reality TV show. Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know
It
how
pretty much
guys
is,
are
yeah.
like, you're like, you have a girlfriend that's watching, like, how do you watch this stuff? And then 5 minutes later, you're sitting there just kind of like, wait, who was that about? What was that? Who said that?
Right. Yeah, it's just one after the other with her. So now it's she dumped her old pit bull because, quote unquote, she wasn't vibing with it, and that was her reason for dumping it.
I
and
feel
yeah,
like
it was
you could have
found.
a better excuse.
I am a super peaceful Zen person, but I will tell people that if you want to see me get pissed, do something to an animal in front of me. I will break every fucking bone in your body.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. It was it was pretty harsh. It was pretty ridiculous. So yeah, I would say Brittany Dawn's one of them, and then V-Shred. V-Shred's kind of
oh god, yes.
Yeah, he's coming back. I have a video on V-Shred that's popping off again, and it's because he's gaining popularity. So people are looking up V-Shred's reviews, and they're coming across my video on TikTok. And so, you know, there's a whole back and forth. Well, it worked for me. And I was like, no, it's not about if it worked for you or not. It's the fact that this guy's a scammer, and here's why.
Yeah.
But that's, I apparently he's popping off again. So I know, because that video is my video of V-Shred's doing a bit more numbers right now. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
V-Shred, I get asked, so for anybody who's DM'd me, I've had several people DM me, like, I've seen this V-Shred guy. What do you think about him?
Yeah, he's
yeah. Very pretty.
Run.
He's an attractive man. I will give him, he's a handsome young lad, and he's got a good physique. And those are the end of my compliments. Those are pretty much everything after
And he doesn't have a brain in that body.
That's about it.
Yeah. So like, he has people like above him basically pulling the strings that are really smart in marketing. So they're very good in the way that they target people who are more vulnerable to his bullshit.
Yeah, they have an amazing marketing team that knows to zero in on beginners and people that are just getting in their foot in the door, and they shuffle them off. And here's some amazing body or program based on your body type. He's got some sort of new scam going on.
Yep.
I think he's still using the somatotype scam, because that was what was happening when I was a teenager, because I almost got sucked into it myself.
Tell people what the somatotype scam. Yeah, tell people what that is if they don't know.
So there's this theory, and it's a theory meaning that it's not quite proven, where there's 3 different types of body types, and sometimes there's 4. So endomorph, ectomorph, and a mesomorph. And there's in that, well, let's start back in like the 1960s is when this all started. This was a psychology study that a psychologist did, on college students, basically placing them in 3 categories, in the 3 I just named. And then somewhere along the way, decades through, the fitness industry was like, oh, let's take this and let's use it as a prescription for fitness and exercise and diet interventions. And although it has like a little bit of truth to it, it's the point, or what unproves or disproves the theory, is the fact that we aren't one body all the time. And we see that with bodybuilders as a good example, where they're in one stage of their bodybuilding career and they're considered an ectomorph. But then when they're in the lean stage, they're considered
describe the 3 like body types.
Mesomorph, and endomorph. So like the ecto is someone who's like apparently tall, lanky, lean,
like me.
Who can burn
I'm an
calories, fast metabolism. Mesomorph is somewhere in the middle, and an endomorph is the exact opposite. And they're always short and stocky and can't lose weight and this and that, and must be. And the thing is, it's like, yes, we have some science around it, but like, it's not proven, because we have people breaking those parameters all the time. You know, we could take me as an example, where, trigger warning, I was diagnosed with anorexia and binge eating disorder. several years ago when I was a teenager, I would be considered an ectomorph, but now I would maybe be considered a mesomorph. And when I was chubby before, you know, getting into my eating disorders, I would be considered an endomorph. So the fact that like you can break these categories proves the whole theory incorrect. And so it's not a prescription for exercise. We truly don't fall into one of three categories. And that's the problem, but it's easily believable because correlation, right?
I think it's because we like to be, we like to have these little categories, and we like to be told we're kind of different than other people. So if I go to someone and say, hey, the reason you can't lose weight is everyone else is putting you into this broad category, when instead I know it's because you are in this different specific category and you need to work out based off your category, which by the way, I find it very strange, because it's like, even if you are in these different categories, is the training really going to be that different? Like, you're still going to be lifting weights, you're still going to, like,
right. It's case by case, like, even further. So yeah,
it's just levels of bullshit. It goes all the way down.
Yeah. And that's an even more important part, is that once they put you in this special category, they have this magic formula that you need to follow that will get you results. And of course, we love that magic formula.
Yeah. And that's cookie cutter. At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's cookie cutter. It's like, oh, you're an endomorph, you get the endomorph program. When truly, two endomorphs, I'm just going to use that, like, aren't the same. Like, still two different types of lifestyles, two different things going on, two like different types of time commitments or eating styles or whatever. So, you know, it's the fact that we're still case by case basis after those categories, and that's what disproves the theory, especially since we don't really have much science on it in fitness at all, or from much of a nutritional and exercise standpoint. It's literally all in psychology. So the fact that people pulled these studies from psychology and they're like, yeah, we're just gonna shove it into fitness and nutrition is funny.
Play devil's advocate, if you're just an average person, I'm just looking around, I notice a lot of people, hey, that person's really tall and skinny, this person's short and stocky. Like, you see these things a lot. So like, when I think just when you see it and then people are like, oh, this is why these people are like that. I don't know, we're always looking for reasons. We want to so it's tough.
Yeah, it's stereotyping is essentially what it is. So yeah,
I think the important takeaway from this is that somatotypes came from some creepy psychologists that just wanted to photograph nude college boys.
That's exactly what it was.
Yep. And that's still better than leaving your dog by the side of the road. Let me just throw that out there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree with that.
That person is still, I will still have a drink with that person before the dog leaver. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But can I just say about V-Shred, I do like the somatotypes, but my favorite is when he has like Harvard found a new study that unlocked the fat gene. And like, you know, we have it's so like, if you haven't seen any V-Shred commercials, they are like an SNL skit. They really are like a Saturday Night Live. Someone can't try to come up with bullshit for the fitness industry, but they are trying to actually sell this nonsense.
Yeah.
It's like, we found this loophole. Oh yeah, it's this fat loss loophole discovered by Harvard that we have engineered into a supplement that you can buy from us. It's so good.
Yeah, it's so funny. He's also gotten called out for blatantly copy pasting word for word famous YouTubers' content as well, like biomechanical type content.
The video of him doing the inverse chest fly.
Yes,
that was so amazing.
Yeah.
And if you haven't, like, obviously V-Shred took that down, but I think you can still find it. Clips of it.
Oh, it's so good. So basically, you hold your hand out in front of you straight, like a straight arm, and then you turn your chest in towards your arm. So you're not moving your arm at all. You just turn your body, which does literally nothing. Basically, you're just holding your arm up. That's about the most work. You're getting some front delts by just holding your arm in front of you. It's so good. It's so good.
Oh man.
So that's V-Shred. For anybody listening, I would just, ignore anything that V-Shred has to say.
V-Shred and Brittany on. Blacklist them immediately.
Okay. So we've called out our names. We've called out our names. So, I mean, okay, I think we've called out a little bit on the bullshit, but like, what would you give for people? What would you tell people who, because we have a lot of listeners who are like, oh, beginning their fitness journey, their health journey. Like, what tips would you give to them? What to look out for? What would you just suggest for someone that's just like, I want to get healthier?
Right, absolutely. So if they're on social media, cleaning up what I call your diet, your social media diet is super important. So, and it's funny because I was actually just on a podcast recently where I talked about this exact thing too. That although credentials aren't end all be all, it is a green flag if someone has credentials like a degree or a certification or two or multiple, because that's at least a foundational that they have gone out and achieved. It's an integrity thing at the end of the day. Aside from that, though, that doesn't always mean everything. So there are some people that I know with PhDs who don't know jack shit. Joel Seedman.
So, I can name a couple.
Yeah. Anyway,
we've talked about him. We're not going to get into Joel. It's low hanging fruit, and I want to so
very low hanging. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, not end all be all, but definitely a green flag. I will say people who speak with nuance, that is important. Especially in the evidence-based community, people who, when they say bold claims that seem novel to beginners, they can back it up. They can actually back the claim up. Nothing grinds my gears more when I see someone say, research says XYZ. I'm like, does research say that? Or did you find this word for word off a blog on Google? Because I could take this word for word, paste it into the search bar, and find exactly where you got it from. So that's definitely something that to look out for. And then I guess being aware of clickbait, right? Clickbait exists in the sense that we all need to market ourselves as creators, right? We all want to have hooks. But like, for example, spot reduction clickbait, like that's an easy one. Exercises to get rid of back fat or whatever fat or inner thigh fat or tone this or tone that. Like that's a very easy clickbait title that, you could tell if someone's bullshitting at the end of the day. And it's funny because a lot of those types of videos I've seen, some have come from credited individuals, but they are just playing the social media game and they're like, oh, I'm going to mislead anyway because it's going to get views and engagement.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of...
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of people like that, yeah.
Yeah, so it's unfortunate.
Like the spot reduction is a big thing because we all have the love handles, the lower belly that's just like there's a little bit there that you were like, oh, I just want to get rid of this. I've had people DM me and be like, there's just this little bit I want to get rid of. How do I target that? And I was like, listen, if I wanted to make money, I'd just sell you some plan, and then it does nothing, because at the end of the day, you really can't do that outside
some plan
of
in your
surgery,
tincture,
essentially. And let me tell you, for anybody listening, like losing, if you have a large amount of excess body fat, you can lose a lot of it, not easily, but more easily, because once you get to the end, that last little bit is always going to be the hardest. It's like an exponential difficulty, because at the end you're like, oh, it should be just as easy to lose this last little bit of weight as it was the first 90% of it. It's so much harder. Your body is going to fight to keep on to that. You're going to be hungry, you're going to be tired, so you have to really assess, how much is it worth it? How much stress am I going to put on myself to lose this last little bit? So that's just my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, that and influencers have really just kind of made up some terms to really get at you for something. It on the women's side of things, like hip dips. That's not a thing.
No.
It's first of all, it's your trochanteric depression, by the way, biomechanically speaking, anatomically speaking. But I mean, it's a term that was created somewhere years ago that's being used to market whatever workouts, exercises, a trainer, a program, and it's just preying on people's insecurities. That's not a thing until we made it a thing. Why do we care so much about our hip dips or love handles? That's not actually a thing. It's a made up term. There's no such thing as a love handle. It's whatever fat is deposited there. We just called it that, and we've decided to use that term as a way to prey on people's insecurities. Not us, but I mean people who again do that, who just want to make money. It's these buzzwords.
Well, yeah, exactly. So. That's what I was just gonna get at. You have these like little things that when you see it, it's just the kind of clickbaity titles, but they work really well. It is kind of, isn't it kind of sad that you nutrition, fitness, it doesn't really matter. The way you get a following is either by basically saying bullshit or calling out bullshit. I feel like those are the two paths you can do because no one wants to hear like, okay, so here's the science-based no, they don't care. Like they want either the nonsense or calling out the nonsense. Those are the two ways.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's funny. It's when I look at even just TikTok as a whole, a lot of the bullshit, because misinformation scientifically spreads 6 times faster than truth. I'd have to find the PMID for it because it's an interesting study, by the way. Because that's the case, a lot of these people who are bullshitting are going to typically have larger followings because of that, because it's so novel of information.
Yeah.
So it is hard to kind of bust your ass and put out the answer that's not pretty because nobody wants to hear it. Versus the opposite. So at the end of the day, we as evidence-based coaches and individuals have to kind of stay in our bubble and not worry about kind of what anyone else is doing in that aspect, or how many followers someone has.
Yeah, that's a big one. The number of followers someone has tells you fucking nothing about how good their information is. So let's just throw that out there.
Absolutely.
That's fucking nonsense. Yeah. Liver King has 6 million followers. Yeah, let's listen to that guy. Okay. Yeah, and oh fuck, now I'm on Liver King brain, and I can't fucking eating brains. God damn it, what the fuck? So, I don't even remember what I was gonna say. Rob, say something. My brain don't work.
I mean, I was just gonna say that this is we call this Brandolini's law, which is it takes exponentially more energy to debunk bullshit on the internet than to create it.
Yeah. That's why I've been taking breaks from the internet lately.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I haven't.
You especially see that with the creators that are debunking this stuff and trying to put out the good content, is they will often get stressed, depressed, and need to take breaks.
Yeah.
Because it is so hard on us.
But you know what?
Well, my break was good.
I just thought of the thing I was thinking of. It's so, because nutrition or fitness, it doesn't really matter. This is how it's so frustrating, because if you're going to call out bullshit, you have to then back it up with a lot of evidence, right? But the people saying the bullshit, all they really have to say, and I've seen this over and over, at least in the nutrition space, is you're just keeping up the status quo, and the status quo doesn't work. If the status quo worked, then people would be healthier. Because people aren't healthier, it's clearly not working and it's not right. And that's really all they have to say. And that is enough for a large enough percentage of people to then go, oh yeah, that makes sense. So I shouldn't go with the evidence-based person. I should go with the person saying these wild things because it's different, right? That's kind of what I've seen a lot of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's always 3 main things that we continue debunking, or 3 reasons why something's being debunked. Either A, they're pulling up animal studies and they're playing that game and thinking that animal studies translate to human studies. They're playing the correlation equals causation game, which we know correlation doesn't equal causation game, or causation. That's not the case. Or they're, oh my God, I forgot the third one. There's a third one. Oh, the it worked for me game. They're playing the it worked for me.
Oh, the anecdote, yeah.
Anecdotes over everything.
Yeah.
It really does, man. Anecdotes are, we talk about this so much, but we just kind of have to keep doing it because they are so unbelievably powerful. For a V-Shred to go, look at all these people I've helped. And anytime I call someone out for their bullshit, I always get people in the comments saying, but they've helped people. Like,
it works for them.
How does them helping others negate the terrible information they're giving? And for them, it just does, I guess.
And yeah, when you give somebody terrible information, you might see results, not necessarily as a result of the information that they were given, but it could be something that they were doing entirely differently.
Yeah, it's fabricated.
And they're going to continue to believe that wrong information is correct, and they're going to make bad decisions because of that down the line.
Right. Example, I wear a waist trainer during my workouts and I start working out 4 times a week, going from 0. oh, I can claim all day that the waist trainer was the reason my waist got slimmer, but I started doing workouts 4 times a week and I was burning more calories. Oh my gosh. And my waist
have those
got
been coming back
because
in, waist trainers?
They've always been around.
Keep seeing that.
I'm Latina, so I'm like in the Latin community. It's always a big thing. It's always been a big thing. So I mean, it does and it doesn't. It's like one of those things that are always there. It's like an evergreen bullshit trend. Like, yeah.
Okay. Give us Brina's biggest bullshit. And I'm gonna put like a big reverb echo on that. So it's like,
are you just gonna give her like open category on like any person or anything, like, or like in the just everything, Rob?
Open category, biggest bullshit.
The biggest bullshit.
Not the little bullshit, not the medium bullshit. The biggest bullshit.
No medium bullshit around here.
Oh God. I'm trying to think of
the things that keep you awake at night and you get frustrated by.
Right.
We're putting you on the spot.
I'm trying to think because there's so many things that I've called out. It's not even funny. Oh gosh, am I gonna bring this one up again? Yeah. Screw it. Whatever. Okay. One of the biggest bullshit that almost, I think it could have potentially started. No, it did start a lawsuit. And you had a few people on your podcast, I believe, the other day that may or may not have talked about this, but Ryan Reed. Actually, he's probably the biggest bullshit that I have come across.
Ryan Reed is...
It was a collective call out by me, Adam Wright, other Fit Adam, Beth Fracco, Matt, her partner Matt, Olivia Pellish, Your Set Fitness, and So He Fit, and I think Ben Carpenter was part of it at one point. Like I think all of us collectively came out and we're like, okay, we're gonna call Ryan Reed out again. And Ryan Reed is essentially a Liam, if you don't know, a glute expert who has female only clients, and he's very handsy. And he was called out originally back in 2020 by Ben Inglis and I for being handsy, and then it kind of died. It kind of died out, and then that large group that I just mentioned, we all came back and collectively in February of 2021 decided to all go ham and call him out because he posted his hard-on, if you know what I mean, on his fitness social media on TikTok in a span of 48 hours multiple times because he wasn't getting views.
Yeah.
And so I took that and I was like, isn't the guy that was handsy with the clients I posted in the group chat of all these coaches? And we're like, yeah. And so we dug kind of further into it, and we're like, you know what? This is worth a call out again because he's harassed, and like we have like evidence, like screenshotted, like this was like gonna go on the news, like articles, like there was going to be a lawsuit. I don't know what has happened to it. It got into the hands of higher ups. I don't know what's going on with it, but we have evidence against it. We were all ready to like literally go to court for this. And yeah, so we posted about it and it blew up, and he fled from Scottsdale, Arizona, allegedly to California, and is apparently doing the same thing now. He like hasn't stopped and he hasn't been really caught. Yep. But we really tried to get this into the hands of police and like higher like authority, and it did at one point, but it just kind of dissipated, which is sad. And we've had so many women come forward about this. Like we all have evidence and screenshots and audio files and like all of it. Like just
I was so happy when that whole thing came out, because when I was getting started on TikTok, the very first big person that like tried to attack me was Ryan Reed.
Yep.
And he attacked me because I had slight lordosis of the spine. And so my spine wasn't flat when I was doing hip thrusts. And I
always comes for.
Yeah. And so he like, did this big thing. Oh, you're doing it wrong, blah, blah, blah. And I came back to him and like, look, you can't look at the spine. Your spine isn't what's the moving joint. You're looking at the pelvis in relation to your thighs. And just because somebody has slight lordosis doesn't mean that they shouldn't be showing how an exercise is done.
Yeah.
And he kept ragging on that. He kept being like, no, you're not allowed to train people because you have a little bit of a different body than other people do. And like, I just kept being like, we do not gatekeep fitness based on people's bodies and stuff. And his followers would actually come over to my page to like, they would become being ready to put up a fight and stuff. And they'd see my content and they'd be like, okay, our guy's an asshole and this guy's actually really nice.
Yeah, that's kind of how it always started, because he did the same to a trainer named Bren. She's kind of come off TikTok since then, but he did the same thing to a trainer named Bren, and so she had to come back with her own video that was evidence-based, and that also catapulted into us finding those sexually explicit videos, somewhat sexually explicit videos, and then calling them out. So it's so funny that you say that, because literally the exact thing was done to Bren.
Yeah. I don't know a whole lot about this, but I will say, like, in those sorts of situations, they generally, like you said, they move and they do the same thing, which really sucks because they don't stop unless they're forced to stop by someone. Like,
and there's too many of those people out there too, like male trainers with explicitly female client base that are glute experts, which is not a complete, not like always and 100% a complete red flag. However, most of the time it is, and most of the time
if they're getting really handsy with you, then yes, that's a huge red flag right there.
Right, of course, of course.
Yeah, and social media isn't it it's kind of a double-edged sword, because if you look, before we had social media, you could just move and it was easier, people wouldn't know about you, but also with social media you can reach a lot of people, so you'll have people calling you out, but there's just this endless pool of more people that you can target, so it's kind of
unfortunately last I checked on Ryan, because I did look to see if like anything had happened with that, and like he was just back on TikTok doing the thing again.
Yep. And that's the unfortunate part. It's like a back to normal. And like, he hasn't been called out just once. It's been multiple times. And the sad part is it gains like traction. And then it's like, oh my God, we're finally getting somewhere with this. Like this, we can finally do something about this to stop this. So he doesn't harm other people. And then it's like, again, it dissipates. And then we're like, shoot, we thought we had it this time. So like hopefully people can look him up and are now more aware of him, but like we can't stop.
Okay, so we gave a lot of the bullshit people that you need to stay away from. I feel like before we end, we should definitely give at least a few good channels, promote some good ones.
Let's switch gears.
Like we can actually say like, hey, check these people out. Because the person I kind of got interested in when I got into fitness was Jeff Nippard. If you haven't know, he's mostly on YouTube. You can find him on other things, but very like he's great if you're starting out. Just look up Jeff Nippard. He breaks down things in a very easily digestible way, I would say, and gives you like just clear, okay, here's the things you can do if you're starting out. If you have 2 days, do this, 4 days, like that sort of stuff. And so he's probably my favorite if you're just beginning your journey. Look up Jeff Nippard.
Sure. For sure. Yeah, no, some great people. I would say when I first started my own journey on TikTok, the first few people I found were Beth Farraco and Matt. And then there was, Olivia Pellish, Your Set Fitness. She's on there too. I love her. There's also a new girl I want to shout out. She's a dietitian, and she's a person of color, which is very... it's not common in the dietitian realm. So women and women of color. And I'm a woman of color, so it's nice to see other women of color, but she's a different ethnicity than I am. But her name's Shayla, Health with Shayla.
Oh, we've had her on here.
We had her on the podcast.
Oh,
Shayla's a friend.
I love her.
I was going to say something. I was like, so we've had Shayla on who, but I was like, you might be saying the same person because
no, Shayla's one of them.
Yeah,
also my business partner, Megan Waits, Waits. She's also evidence-based. Her and I, like, we're always like doing stuff together. Her husband, Mark Dallas Waits, is a chef, so he's on TikTok too, and he's currently blowing up for his recipes and whatnot. Awesome. And he's also into fitness, so that's fun. But yeah, no, those are a few good people that I can really name off the top of my head that like I always follow. Coach Frizzle too. She's awesome.
What's your take on Athlean X over there, Sabrina? I'm kind of curious because I just want to talk about it because he's one of the biggest, is maybe one of the biggest at least.
Jeff
fitness.
Cavalier.
Yeah.
He says, so you see, for me, he's a back and forth because there's some things that he says that are very evidence-based and it's great. But then he'll like jump that threshold and then he'll say something that's bullshit. And I'm like, I can't keep giving you the benefit of the doubt, Jeff.
Yeah. Because I think that's for views. Because like to get that big, you kind of have to blur the lines a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it's a tough. I've always had it tough. I'm like, I like a lot of what you're saying, but also there's a little bit. So yeah, if you see Athlean X out there, some of it's good, some of it's not as good.
Yeah. Like I mean, he was big back when YouTube was huge several years ago. You know, and he's still around and he's pivoting. He's still growing as a platform, I believe. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like, for me, it's hard to listen to someone's content or watch their content when they're not like steady. Like, it's okay to change your mind,
not consistent.
And I get that, but it's like, it's a very like, one day it's like great evidence-based content, and then another day it's like bullshit, and then it's like he keeps going back and forth, and I was like, I can't. I don't know if I can keep giving you the benefit of the doubt. Like,
so. I think for me, two of the main ones when I was getting started were Pure Bullfit.
Okay.
And Obese to Beast.
Obese to Beast is good. Yes, I know him.
And John Glaude. Yeah. They've it's not so much that they put out like scientific content or anything, but they put out like nice content. It's like it's friendly. It makes you like enjoy what you're getting into and stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I like that a lot. Even that content's great from like watching all the scientific stuff, like Lane Norton. I love Lane Norton too. Dr. Lane's great.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorites. That and Brad Schoenfeld. Daddy of kinesiology.
Yeah.
Brad Schoenfeld.
So I have to say, like, after I got into Jeff Nippert and kind of got the basics, I hopped over to Renaissance Periodization, which, if you haven't seen this, is Dr. Mike Israetel. I don't know how you pronounce it. It's the fucking last name.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does. It's a little bit more advanced. So like, I kind of like started Jeff Nippert and then hopped over to Renaissance Periodization, and they go a little bit further in depth. If you kind of want to know like actually how to design a program, that sort of stuff, you can go to them on YouTube. They started on like they have Instagram, they have TikTok, a little bit less so, but those are the two. Like for me, Jeff Nippert, Renaissance Periodization. If you're kind of like early on, I would look both of those up. Very evidence-based, great information.
They're awesome.
So we called out the bullshit. We gave you some good information. What more do you want? Okay, like what more are we supposed to do here?
We gave you the good and the bad.
The good and the bad. We got to start with the bad, because the bad is what hooks people in. Again, as we stated, you have to call out the bullshit to get people's attention.
Oh man.
Well, I know what I want. What's your favorite food?
What's sushi?
Sushi.
1000%.
That's a good one. I love me some
That's a good one, yeah.
What's your
very
favorite Oreo flavor?
Pretty healthy. Very versatile.
What's your favorite Oreo flavor? We asked that before.
Oreo flavor?
Yeah,
I don't really eat Oreos, but no. I would have to say just the regular double stuff. I like the chocolate one, the chocolate Oreos.
Is good. That is a good one.
I used to eat those as a kid when I was like very overweight. I would eat like a whole box bag of them by myself. It was bad.
They're so good. I can't blame you in the least. They're so good. It's like the best cookie. Ooh, we asked Adam this, and I think I liked his response. So I'm going to ask you this question, back to more serious things than Oreos and sushis. For like, because you work with people, right? So like, you obviously like have clients and whatnot. Like, what's a common theme you see amongst the people who are successful in their endeavors? Like, what's a thing that kind of connects them together? I like that question because, when you've worked with a lot of people, you've probably pick up on little things that they all have in common that, is the...
Yeah. Learning that or learning how to break away from the all or nothing mindset. The clients that understand that all or nothing isn't the answer, like sustainability is found within just something you can hold. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't mean perfection. Consistency doesn't equal perfection. And so I've realized that my clients that get into that mindset, or like some of them, they come from an all or nothing mindset, and I have to kind of help them relearn that you know, that's not how we treat life, right? Because at the end of the day, we're training, we're eating for life. You know, we're not here to hop on some crash diet, give you results for the sake of results, and me be like, bye, just for you to whatever, gain all the way back and come back to me. And I always tell people online, on the phone, as a client, whatever, in person, that like I want you to have the ability to walk away not needing me anymore. Like autonomy is always my goal. And that's kind of counterintuitive to a business perspective, where it's like we're coaches and we want to keep our clients and we want recurring revenue. But at the end of the day, I find such fulfillment in like letting my clients go and then like seeing them years down the road, like their physiques or just whatever their goals were. It's just like it seemed unimaginable when they were coaching with me. But then like years later and they're thriving in their own way, and it's fantastic. So I found that the clients that are most successful use me as a resource to its full extent, and then also break from the all or nothing mindset.
I like it a lot. On that note, why don't you give the people where to find you and like how to get more information from you? For
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Okay, cool. Yeah, so you can find me on TikTok and Instagram. Those are my two platforms. Beefcake, that's one word, BEEF, like beef, like cow beef. Cake, CAKE, Beefcake _ Brina, BRINA.
There you go.
I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and I just released a new single. I'm a house producer and DJ. So,
that's right. I saw some of your DJ stuff.
Yeah, I'm a house producer and a DJ. So I just released my new single, I'm a Rich Man, inspired by the quote that I live by. So
well, there you go. Now everybody can add that to your gym playlist.
It's actually on my gym playlist. So it's there, and I'm gonna be producing more music. It's funny, I stopped to do this podcast because I was producing music at a coffee shop. So I'm gonna be releasing more.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Everybody go out, find some people you like, ignore the bullshit, and don't be your worst.
Listen to Brina's music.
No, that's what we gotta say.
And don't be your worst.
Everybody at the three, we gotta say 3, 2, 1, don't be your worst. 3, 2, 1.
Don't be your worst.
All right. Good enough.
Good enough.
Don't be your worst and good enough. Hey, wasn't that a great time listening to the podcast? You were just, I'm assuming you were just listening to In Moderation. So if you go ahead and hit the 5-star button, is that a thing? The like button?
That's a thing. Yeah.
The like button
5
on YouTube.
stars.
If you're on YouTube, hit the like button, not the dislike button. That's a bad button. The
bad
like
button.
Bad
Don't
button.
touch.
Hit all the other buttons. The share. You can go check out
all those things.
Subscribe. Go check out our Patreon. Yeah. We do have a Patreon. It's free to join if you want, or you could give us some money. That'd be really cool, like $1 or $2. It doesn't matter. Whatever you have.
That's where you'll find all the news for this.
We're super appreciative. You can find all sorts of other stuff there. We do giveaways. I think sometimes.
Sometimes.
All that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, peace.